Many people know that Coca-Cola, the #1 selling soft drink in the world, originally contained cocaine. But did you know that Coca-Cola, through a proxy company, has for 100 years produced cocaine as a byproduct for making the soda? And they also sell it for pharmaceutical use. And it's 100% legal. At least for Coca-Cola, it is. With an epidemic of obesity in adults, and as the world leader of childhood obesity, you may wonder why the United States government would enable the sellers of an oversweetened syrup with zero nutritional and zero medicinal value to prosper around it despite harsh laws against cocaine for most American citizens. A drink containing several dangerous substances such as caffeine and caramel coloring, which is known to raise risk for cancer, is on almost every store shelf in the nation and is marketed relentlessly to us all, man, woman, and child. However, other less harmful substances with actual medicinal properties, such as cannabis, are demonized and criminalized by the very same government. But it was not always such a sweet relationship between Coca-Cola and the United States government. In 1909, the United States versus 40 barrels and 20 kegs of Coca-Cola case was brought to the Supreme Court. This unique case alleged that Coca-Cola product was in violation of the 1906 Pure Food and Drug Act. It tried to force the Coca-Cola company to remove caffeine from the formula, believing that the product was adulterated and also misbranded. Although Coca-Cola won the 1909 decision, the government appealed twice, winning the second appeal in 1912, at which point Coca-Cola finally agreed not to remove, but at least to lower the amount of caffeine added to the Coke secret formula. By this time in Coca-Cola's history, the cocaine had already mostly been voluntarily removed from the formula, leading in part to the misbranded claims by the lawsuit brought from the feds. It was around this era, just after the turn of the century, that the Stepan Corporation becomes a part of the Coca-Cola process. This New Jersey company imports coca leaves by special permit from the DEA, mainly from Peru and Bolivia. The leaves they import have already been processed and the alkali to make cocaine mostly, but not completely, removed. The import of coca leaves into the U.S. is strictly forbidden, but special laws, unofficially known as Coca-Cola laws, give the company special permission to do so. The Stepan Company further refines the coca leaves to chemically remove the residual cocaine materials and then extracts the flavor required for the Coca-Cola syrup. The Stepan Company then sells the remaining cocaine-making chemicals to Malik Draught Incorporated, a St. Louis pharmaceutical manufacturer that's the only company in the United States licensed to purify the cocaine product for medicinal use. The cocaine is then sold to and used by doctors for medicinal purpose. This is according to a 1998 New York Times article. But if this is all legal due to those special laws, then what's the big deal? Well, let's look at the math. According to the American Beverage Association, American consumers on average drank just over 54 gallons of carbonated soft drinks per person in 2005. That made carbonated soft drinks the most popular beverage in the United States, almost 3 times more popular than bottled water, milk, or coffee. Although sugary soda consumption is on the decline in the U.S. due to consumer awareness of how unhealthy it is, Coca-Cola still boasts regular profits in excess of $10 billion yearly. Considering the quantity of decocainized coca leaves required to make that much Coke, where do the leaves that have already been decocainized come from? Who removed the cocaine? There are no other coca-based products that are even allowed to be sold in America. Are there enough other legal uses for coca leaves to generate that much decocainized coca leaves for Coca-Cola Company to import and make their sugar-filled drink? Could it have been drug cartels making cocaine, then selling the leaves to third parties to sell to Stepan? A 1906 Coke advertisement claimed that Coca-Cola is the perfectly balanced combination of these valuable tonics in the form of a healthful drink. But in reality, there is absolutely no health benefit from Coca-Cola. In fact, quite the opposite is true. A 2016 study of 2,800 adults found that the consumption of at least 2 7-ounce sugary or artificially sweetened soft drinks a day was linked to a 2-fold greater risk of type 2 diabetes. At 5 7-ounce sugary or artificially sweetened soft drinks a day, the risk increased to 10.5 times greater risk for type 2 diabetes. Then there are the dental drawbacks, the addictive caffeine, the unsafe sugar spike. The mind-altering combination of all these stimulants, including the carbonation, is the perfect storm of being a gateway to a cycle of destructive behavior. Although there are many studies funded by Coca-Cola that will deny all of these claims, there are many, many more to support them. But the extent to which the government will make allowances for Coca-Cola to profit off of a health risk to Americans does not stop there. In the 1960s, in Hawaii, a project known as the Alakai Project secretly teamed the Stepan Corporation with the University of Hawaii to grow coca directly on U.S. soil. But the project was abandoned after a fungus destroyed the crops, and Coca-Cola continued importing its coca leaves through Stepan Corporation from South America. According to a 2011 Huffington Post article, this monopoly on coca imports into the United States also severely disrupts the cocaleros, or local coca farmers, who grow the coca, often leaving them at the mercy of cartels to turn a profit. The baffling part of this is that the government at once can be so accommodating to enable a company to sell a nutritionally worthless, medicinally bankrupt product that contains numerous harmful and addictive properties. Not only do they enable it indirectly, but sodas are also on the food stamps list, so they actually pay for people to drink this harmful drink. But this same government has demonized cannabis, which is known to have many medicinal values and has not been proven to be as harmful even as caffeine. The same government imprisons citizens, destroys lives, and propagates lies to keep cannabis out of our hands. But why? Perhaps it has to do with the down market benefits of the mass sales, even to children, of an unhealthy substance such as Coca-Cola. The healthcare industry, diabetes medications, diet pills, exercise gyms, dentists, orthodontists, and eventually funeral homes all greatly benefit from the mass sales of Coca-Cola. Or perhaps it's the special taxes that Coca-Cola pays to the government to import a controlled substance with special permits by the DEA. Truly, I hate to think that it has anything to do with the illegal cocaine industry, but I can't rule that out considering the nefarious reputation of meddling in collusion in South and Central America by the CIA, DEA, and other U.S. government entities, and their apparent friendliness to the Coca-Cola company. But in states where cannabis is legal, there's less illegal opioid abuse, less purchases of over-the-counter pain medication, and less abuse of prescribed painkillers. So there's less money made by down-market economies. Federally, and in states where cannabis is still illegal, there are mass amounts of money made on law enforcement, fines, and incarcerating citizens for cannabis in private-run state prisons. So for all the government's talk and bluster about health and safety of its citizens, it's pretty clear, as it most often is the case, that it's all about the money.